What's up everyone? It's Lily and welcome back to Slaver Vlogs and welcome back to another Dancing with the Stars recap because it's another week, another recap. So this week was horror movie night and I'm not a horror movie fan like at all. Sarah knows this. She took me to A Quiet Place 2 and I was so scared, but I actually really enjoyed that movie. And I really loved how well done it was. Like, I think that the cinematography and the whole concept was amazing. But I'm not a horror movie fan. I get scared really easily. So this was definitely not my cup of tea as far as dances go. But it was kind of fun to go in with a blind eye because I've really never seen any of these movies. And it was kind of fun to see how they interpreted the movie and the characters through the dance without even knowing what the plot line was or what the movie was about. So I'm excited for this recap. Let's get into it. First up, we have the Miz and Whitney. They did a Paso Doble inspired by the movie Hellraiser. They got a 9.8 for a 34 out of 40 as their total. I think that he had much better footwork this week, and I really liked his intense energy and the powerfulness of the dance overall. And I love how he has this dedication to his character every single week. Like every single week, he puts in 110% into his character, and I really like that. He's a WWE star, so I think a lot of people may not think he's the best actor, but he really went against that and said, hey, I'm a good actor too. And so I have really enjoyed watching him put in the effort to bring out the character and just to see his passion. It's been really fun to see him so passionate about what he's doing and the movement and everything like that. So next week, I think that he should work on making the footwork a little bit more precise to match the dance style. I think that for the Paso Doble, his footwork was a little bit more fluid than I would like to have been, and I think that if he can match the footwork to the style, he's going to do so well and he's going to improve so much. And just really in general, making that footwork more precise and more clear will help with bringing out that clarity in the footwork and then the technique. Next up, we have Kenya Moore and Brandon. They had an Argentine tango inspired by the movie Arachnophobia. They got 8s all across the judges panel for a 32 out of 40 as their total. I really liked this trust and chemistry that Kenya had with Brandon, and I think that she had really nice intense energy for the Argentine tango, and of course her leg extension, as Derek mentioned, was amazing. I don't think this was her best performance though. I think that her rumba was definitely the best performance, but I think that her body was a little stiff in this performance, and maybe that's because she wanted to kind of bring out the sharpness and intensity that the Argentine tango has. But I think that she had a little bit of a stiff body, which made the dance a little bit awkward and stiff as well. And she was also eliminated, and I will give my thoughts about that at the end of the video. Next up, we have Joana Siwa and Jenna. They did a jazz routine inspired by the movie It. They got 10s all across the judges panel for a 40 out of 40 as their total, so they got a perfect score. And obviously, I do want to mention that JoJo does have dance experience. We're not gonna say that she wasn't on Dance Moms. She was on Dance Moms, so obviously jazz is one of her strong suits and one of her strengths in this competition. I feel like jazz and contemporary are the two dances that she's probably going to do well in because she has the most experience with that from Dance Moms. I think that she had really good rhythm with the music and she was very in sync with Jenna, and I really enjoyed watching that. And I think that Bruno was totally right that this was a nightmare turned into a work of art. It was so cool of Jenna to use this song, and I love this song by the way, because it's kind of a happy-go-lucky song, and they played at the playful side of a clown, but also they played at Pennywise's demonic features and Pennywise's horror. he's scary and he's not a good clown at all. And he scares people. And I think that to have kind of that contrast of a playfulness, but also horror was really, really effective in this dance. And so I applaud Jenna for the amazing choreography and the amazing concepts that she came up with. And I really liked how the energy matched the dance style. And I think that if JoJo keeps that up, she's going to be unstoppable in the competition. I think that sometimes, as we mentioned before, is that she gets a little bit too excited in the character, and all of that energy builds up and then comes out within the character, and that she needs to really base her energy in the technique. And I think that this energy really matched the style of Jazz, and it just kind of worked perfectly together. So I think that if she can do that with every single dance that she does, she's gonna maybe win the competition. I don't know. Next up, we have Cody Rigsby and Cheryl. They did a cha-cha inspired by the movie American Psycho. They got 9s all across the judges panel for a 36 out of 40 as their total. This was definitely Cody's breakthrough performance, and it was much more controlled than what I've seen from him. And as Carrie Ann said, they actually finally danced as one. They danced together and they were in sync with each other, and I'm so proud of them. And I really liked how Derek mentioned that Cody put in the work for improving. Like, he took the judges' critiques and criticisms and he showed that he worked on those. He showed that he worked to improve his performance. Even as a dancer myself, we loved getting critiques. We loved getting criticisms. We loved getting corrections because it gave us something to work on. It gave us something to be motivated about and to improve on, because we know we're not perfect dancers, even though we might do 4 turns in a row, or maybe we had a perfect split in our soda shaws or our leaps. We know that we're not perfect. So to have kind of corrections during class and to have corrections after a performance or after a show, it really, really, really helped us motivate ourselves to just become better than what we are. Next week, I would like to see him working on making his steps a little bit smaller. I think this will help with control overall, and it will also help with clarity and just getting the dance moves and the footwork a little bit more crisp and clear. Next up, we have Jimmy Allen and Emma. They did a contemporary dance routine that was inspired by A Quiet Place. They got a 10-9, 10-9 for a 38 out of 40 as their total. First of all, shout out to Emma for the amazing choreography. That was an absolutely amazing routine, and it was done so well. I think that his passion and expression really stood out to me in this performance, and it gave me chills. This performance gave me chills. It was by far my favorite performance of the night. I know that a lot of people liked Iman Shumpert's routine, and I really like that too, but I personally loved this routine. It's one of my favorite things about contemporary on this show, is that you can really use your personal experiences and your personal stories to bring out that emotion, and it's absolutely beautiful when that kind of goes hand in hand with each other. So that's basically my advice for him next week, is just to keep up that authenticity, keep up that vulnerability, and keep up that expression of emotion within him and sharing that to the world, and just not being afraid and not holding back in that. Next up, we have Olivia Jaden and Val. They had a paso doble that was inspired by the movie The Purge. They got 9s all across the judges panel for a 36 out of 40 as their total. I really liked how Carrie Ann said that in this routine, she had this strength within herself and that she held her own. And I think a lot of that has to do with Val's amazing choreography, and how his choreography helped Olivia really have the spotlight on her, because it really shined that spotlight and it allowed her to hold her own and allowed her to bring out her strengths and passion and expression. So she had a really nice portrayal of this character. But with that, I think that she should work on making her movement sharper to match this style. And obviously she might not have a paso doble next week, but I think that to make her movement match the style, kind of the theme of this whole week, I think that'll really help her out in the end. And I think that her technique lacked a little bit this time around, maybe because she was kind of finding that nice balance between character and really bringing out that emotion and having that breakthrough performance as far as emotion goes, but also having her technique the same level, and her technique kind of fell as she focused on the character a little bit more. Next up, we have Melora Harden and Artem. They had a jive inspired by the movie Cujo. They got an 8989 for a 34 out of 40 as their total. I really liked how cute this routine was despite the horror theme. And I think that she had really nice footwork during the instrumental break especially. I think Carrie Ann saying that she played it safe was pretty much true. I think that she may have lost her stamina a little bit and maybe lost her energy a little bit as she got tired by the end. I know that the jive is really, really, really hard stamina-wise, and it's really hard to keep up energy-wise. So I think that if she can just give it her all, push through it, push through the tiredness, and give her 110% energy into the performance for the whole performance from beginning to end, it will definitely be better. I think that this was definitely not her best performance, but still strong performance overall. Next up, we have Iman Shumpert and Daniela. They did a contemporary routine that was inspired by the movie Us. They got a 10, 10, 10, 10 for a 40 out of 40 as their total, so they got a perfect score. First of all, I want to say that Daniela, this choreography was absolutely amazing. So I am applauding Daniela for this amazing choreography. Really, the choreography was amazing throughout the whole night. So I applaud all the pros, but Daniela, this choreography was so good, incredible. I really liked this nice groove that he had, and we saw in his Arabian Nights routine that he can lift Daniela because he's really, really tall and the height difference works out like that. And I think that the lifts were so in character and so in the context of the movie that it was absolutely chilling, and it was so suspenseful and just effortless. Oh my goodness, it was so good. I really love the stare at the end to scare Len. You could tell that he was just like, whoa, whoa. So the dedication to the character was there. And as Bruno said, it was a masterpiece performance. I would not be surprised if Daniela gets like an award for this choreography at some point, because it was absolutely amazing. So my advice for next week, obviously, because they got a perfect score, the judges didn't really have much critiques, but I think that if he can just keep up with Daniela's amazing choreography and Daniela can keep giving him that amazing choreography, he's going to wow everybody, and he might actually win the competition because he's definitely one of the strongest performers. And that's really, really good for him because honestly, you normally wouldn't see a basketball player like Iman Shumpert to, make it to the finals, but he just has this really nice groove, and it makes it so much easier for Daniela to choreograph on him. So I think that if he really uses her choreography to his advantage and use kind of his strengths of having this groove to his advantage, he's gonna win everybody's hearts by the end. Next up, we have Suni Lee and Sasha. They did a tango that was inspired by the TV series The Vampire Diaries, which I've never seen, but I might actually start it now that everybody's kind of into it, and I know it's on Netflix. So they got 9s all across the judges panel for a 36 out of 40 as their total. I think that her character dedication was really good this time around, and it was very controlled and very intense. I really liked that energy that she brought to the dance floor, but I think that her footwork needs to be improved on a little bit because I think that she may have put too much focus on that character, because each week we wanted her to break out of her shell and really emote and really be expressive through her movement and be expressive through her face, and I think that she finally did that in this performance. But a little bit like Olivia Jade, that technique kind of went down with the focus on the expression and the emotion. So if we can balance that out, that would be Amazing. So that's my advice for next week, is just to try to balance that out, have great technique, but also be expressive at the same time. And last up, we have Amanda Klutz and Alan. They had an Argentine tango that was inspired by the movie Saw. They got a 9-9-10-10 for a 38 out of 40 as their total. First of all, the footwork was amazing, especially with the hooks of the knees. And I think that she embodied her character really well, despite not being a horror movie fan and probably not seeing the movie. I know, I get it. I'm not a horror movie fan either, so I get how hard this was for her, and especially with an Argentine tango. The Argentine tango is no joke, such a hard dance to learn. So I think that she did incredibly well, and Alan did not hold back with that choreography as well. So I applaud her for keeping up with that choreography, despite also having a really hard dance to learn technique wise, and also not being able to embody the characters so easily because she's not a horror movie fan. I think that she's definitely been one of the strongest dancers from the beginning, as Derek mentioned, and so it was kind of fun to see her outside of her comfort zone and see her struggle a little bit, and I really liked how Derek gave her a 10. And I think that Len and Carrie Ann also had a little bit of a fair point, saying that it was definitely a lot more sharper than it should have been. The Argentine tango was a little bit more fluid and a little bit more elastic, I would say, than the actual tango or the traditional tango. And I think that with Carrie Ann saying that she needs her movement to be free instead of forced, I get that. I think that a part of her wanted that intensity in the Argentine tango, but it just kind of came out a little bit too intense. And I get it, like, it was definitely not her strong suit, and it was definitely not in her comfort zone of themes. You know, again, she's not a big horror movie fan, so I think a lot of her character may have been forced because she is not a horror movie fan and she has no idea what this routine is about and the story and her character and everything. So I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that she's not a horror movie fan, so she didn't really know how to express herself freely. Alrighty, so let's talk about this elimination. So I think that they made a correct decision to keep Suni Lee in the competition. I think that Suni definitely did not have her strongest performance this time around, but I think that she also has more potential than Kenya Moore. I'm not saying that Kenya Moore is not an incredible dancer. I think that she really did give her all this season, and I think that she was an amazing dancer. I just think that as far as some of the other contestants, this was definitely her time to go. I'm really sad about it though. I think that it's definitely not going to get any easier because they're starting to eliminate a lot more good couples and good pairings, and I think that each week it's going to get even more and more intense. But I think that they did ultimately go the right way with saving Suni Lee because I think that she has more potential than Kenya. And I think that Kenya, although she was consistent in the last time that she was in the bottom two with Matt James, I think that the consistency wasn't enough. I think that she kind of stayed at a particular level and that she didn't really have much of a huge breakthrough performance. Her rumba could have been a breakthrough performance, but I think that just kind of across the whole competition and all across the whole time that she's been in the competition, I didn't really see a big kind of contrasting change within her that really separated her from the rest of the contestants that are in the competition right now. So thank you for watching. I appreciate it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, turn on your post notifications so you're updated every single time we upload a video. Comment down below video ideas, comment your thoughts, feelings, opinions on the show and on this analysis, and follow us on social media. The links are in the description below. If you'd like to see all of the dances from this Horror Nights, you can go to the description below and click on the links. And if you want to look at all the past performances, things like that, you can go to Dancing with the Stars YouTube channel and you can look at all the performances and fun clips they have on there. And if you would like to see my written analysis that I have published for my school newspaper. You can also view that by clicking that link in the description below. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.